Hey, hi, how are you? Happy Thursday to you. It's good to see everybody. It's good to be seen by everybody. And I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful evening. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live 5 nights a week. Most of the time, 5 nights a week, with old school RPG goodness, news, rants, bants, and everything else. Whatever we want to do. All right. Jimmy Invictus says, I swear that theme music ambush is going to trigger a cardiac event one of these days. No, Jimmy, it's not. That's Summer Mountains by my buddies over at, of course. I'm sorry. I got a message there. So 911, pay attention to this. No, anyway, that's from my buddies Bards of Greyhawk. So anyway, Slycanthrope, good morning. Good to see you. Good to see you there in the chat. And I hope the chat is doing particularly well. We're going to read some more B4 today. Not before, but letter B, number 4. But before, we need to take a hot minute here. Lord Corion, greetings, my friend. Good to see you. Hail and well met to you. We need to take a hot minute here to help pay the bills. And, of course, this live stream is brought to you by Hellebarde Games. They publish the kinds of modules that they would like to play. Whether you're playing an OSR game, 5th edition, Castles and Crusades, old school rules are in play at the table. You can pick up Hellebarde offerings from their website directly at hellebardegames.com or from Drive-Thru RPG. That's Hellebarde Games. So, put up a couple of videos today. Put up a bunch of videos yesterday because I didn't do any videos on Tuesday. And we all know why I didn't do any videos on Tuesday. But it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. I gotta feed the algorithm. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm just gonna say it flat out. I gotta feed the algorithm if I want people to keep coming and subscribe. By the way, we're at 3,911 subscribers. Today is February the 2nd. It has been 1 month since I got a fire lit under me about things. And it was not initially Wizards of the Coast. No, it was their co-conspirators over at PBS NewsHour and their hit piece attacking the OSR, calling us all a bunch of ists and phobes and all kinds of nasty stuff. Hello, Kennick. And then things just kind of snowballed from there. I posted up a video just letting my feelings be known, and I woke up the next morning and it had 50,000 plus views. And in the space of a day, I had like 500 more subscribers, and it's just gone up and up. And you guys are amazing because you have spread the good word. You have invited people here to what I affectionately call the chat. And it's just been incredible to watch this whole thing grow. Is it tapering off? Well, of course it is. All right. And that goes back to something fundamental that I said. I can't keep doing the rage bait type stuff. And I didn't really set out with the intention to do it at all anyway. But there's kind of a point at which, as a content creator, you have to look at what generates the most traffic, and you have to look at what is creating what generates the most traffic. So I would imagine that things will settle down here. You know, It's kind of that Disco Stew moment. If you've ever seen The Simpsons, where Marge is trying to find a small business franchise to launch, and she goes to a convention, and there's Disco Stew. And he's got this chart with an arrow going up, and it's from like 1972 to 1976, and it's like Disco Investments or something. But it stops at 1976, and he says, and if these numbers keep rising, well, it's kind of like that. All right. I'm not going to say, look at the way the numbers trended in January. If those numbers keep going up, I'll be to 100,000 subs by 2024. That ain't going to happen, guys. Okay. That's not going to happen. Wizards has already gone from doing overtly outrageous and customer hostile things to kind of trying they put the velvet glove around the iron fist, so to speak. So there's less to talk about. Hello, Robert, Chris, Fuchsia, Uncle Brat. So obviously there's less for me to talk about. Now I try and pull in bits and pieces here and there. And it's kind of funny, collecting chaos greetings. It's kind of funny because, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday I posted a video and I just opined on a few things to do with Critical Role, and that actually lost me subscribers. If not for the Critical Role video, I probably would have been up 12 yesterday and so on. Not a particularly popular opinion that I expressed in that video. So I'm going to, if I see something, Michael Connor Hale, if I see something that I don't like, I feel like I've got to mention it. I've got to say something about it. I can't just leave it sit. But I've got to learn to roll with the punches, and I will. But anyway, that's all we need to know about with regard to that. Regarding future content, okay, so here's the thing. I want to do some short form videos, which for me are like 10 or 15 minutes, not YouTube shorts. Although I want to start doing those too, but I want to start doing some short form videos stuff, because a lot of you folks in the audience, particularly a bunch of you folks in the chat, you guys, a lot of you guys have come to my channel and you don't know AD&D and you want to know about AD&D, but at the same time, you don't have the time or desire, which is fine. I'm not complaining at you, to learn about AD&D. So, or the time or the desire to sit and listen to a 2 hour, 3 hour, 3.5 hour, 4 hour live stream about AD&D. And again, I get it and I understand. I totally understand. So I'm going to be doing shorter form videos covering interesting aspects, some just kind of pop trivia, but many of them rules. Many of the hows and whys of why certain things work the way they do. That requires research on my part. I like 60% of AD&D for me is up here. It's just stuff that I remember. House rules, that sort of thing. But the things in the book, like, I can't explain what's in here to you guys. It would be a confusing mess if I just started stream of consciousness telling you guys how I run AD&D. It would be like the Necronomicon. You know, one of the maddening things about the Necronomicon, at least, I mean, Lovecraft never wrote it, right? Just little bits and pieces. But those old books, John David, we'll get to that in a minute. But those old books that Lovecraft wrote about, one of the maddening things was they didn't have chapter breaks. They were handwritten, run-on sentences, missing pages. They would just like start up. No preamble, nothing like that. That's what your brain stream of consciousness is like, right? So I've got to go to the books. I've got to go to the books, and I've got to talk about what's in the books and condense and present in a way that works in the time frame that I want to. That requires preparation, which requires time. I have had next to no spare time. I can sit down and read a news report about our hobby and throw together a title card and throw it up on YouTube in about the same amount of time it takes you guys to watch it, plus 3 to 5 extra minutes. What I have going on in the background with my life right now, with a car that self-destructed and like went through us financially like a frigging wrecking ball. That does not allow the careful consideration to put something together like a top 10 cool trivia things about the monster manual, or why demi-human level limits, or where did the paladin come from, or what's the best way to build a bard, and all those things. They require time, and it's been time that since 3 days before my birthday until literally tonight, I haven't had. So I apologize unmitigatedly. Do I apologize to you folks in the chat, to the folks who just sit and back and watch the live streams, the people who comment on the videos, the people who watch the streams later, and the people who watch the short form videos and have been sitting on tenterhooks saying, when is this guy going to actually talk about classic AD&D and not rage rant about Wizards of the Coast? And what I can say to you, you incredibly patient, wonderful people, is, first of all, thank you for your patience. And soon, I hope things resolve in the next 7 to 10 days. I'll keep live streaming because this is therapy for me. And we'll still be live streaming games and stuff like that. Get Bill a car Kickstarter in the works. I wouldn't say no if somebody did it, but I would best to step back from that. Hey, Chen, good to see you. Chen coming all the way from Taiwan to watch these live streams. I guess it's morning where you're at, Chen. That's awesome. Christopher, have a great night. We'll miss you. I would disagree with you, Dram. I do owe you guys a lot because 2,500 people above and beyond the 1,500 people that were subscribed on or about January 17th decided to leap onto this channel, and they keep hopping on. You're here for something. I should provide it to you. I should provide it to you. See, Mead says he's here for the old school fraternity, so I have to bring it. What brought you here, chat in general? Me. I did. I did. Well, that's nice to know. But anyway, So that's enough ramble. Let's talk about B4. And I hope you're out there, Luther Pendragon, sitting there quietly going, yes, B4. Yesterday, we got pretty deep into B4. We've met I don't want to call them cultists. Really, only one group of them I would qualify as cultists. Societies of the Lost City. Societies of the Lost City. So let's take a look. Let us continue to dive into this. Now, I picked this module up off drive-through. Goodman Games, who I talked about today, because I talked about positivity, because Goodman Games has had a fantastic January, and they do the big, thick Montana Mule Choker volumes of the classics. They've got a 5e conversion, but then they've got a section of the history of the module, and then they have a classic reprint of the module. They're a little spendy, but they're worth it if you want those. But if you just want the module, you can get it print on demand, and I picked up the PDF. So thank you, John David. That's very nice. Fuchsia, thank you. Thank you guys all. Okay. I don't want to single you out or anything, but just for example, John David found me a year ago. That means YouTube has kind of been throwing me out there, right? Because a lot of people have been here. Buenos noches, Marcos. A lot of people, I mean, some of you guys have been here since when I had 400 subscribers, 200 subscribers, when I started doing stuff on YouTube on a regular basis. So that means you found me somehow, if you didn't know me on social media otherwise. Greetings, old Grognard. So let's get into it. Let's turn the steering wheel hard to the right and take the off ramp over to B4 the Lost, not B4 the Lost City Dungeon Module B-4. So let's share screen, make sure I don't have anything on there except for the screen. And I have to click like 6 times to do this. Okay, so here we go. We dealt with the cultists of Usami Garas. We dealt with all the various things. The warrior maidens. So we're over to the warrior maidens, and they are the worshippers of Matarua, Arch of the Warrior Maidens. You see 2 10-foot tall statues of women fighters. The fighters wear masks with the face of the female statue on top of the pyramid. The 2 statues stand with spears outstretched to form an arch. The only way down the corridor appears to be in single file under the crossed spears. Oh, I forgot. I'm sorry. I have to do this. I have to pause for just a second. I promise you guys we'll return to this because some of you guys in the chat, and you will receive proper thanks for this, I promise, but some of you folks in the chat opened your hearts. You bought a tier of support for Heidi Gygax's and Eric Garland's, her fiance Heidi and Eric's adventure module, and then gifted that tier to me. So I get to create an NPC encounter in their module. I am super hyped about that. Fuchsia Cone led the charge on it, and I want to find out who else committed to that, because that is awesome. And this will be the second Gygax I get to work with. So thank you all who did that. That's super cool. More details to come. Let's get back to it. The Chamber of Matarua. Oh, and there is a bit of a trap warning. There's a pressure plate underneath the spear arch. Every time they step on it, a chime rings in room 23, and it warns the warrior maidens that someone is approaching the shrine and reveals how many are in the party. (21A), the Chamber of Matarua. The door to this room is locked. If the party cannot unlock the door, it can be battered down in one turn. If the door is battered down, the warrior maidens in room 23 will come to investigate. We have some box text, some deadly wandering box text. Near the northeast corner of this room is an altar covered with a green and white cloth. On the altar sits a 3-foot-tall statue of a woman holding a sword and a sheaf of wheat. To each side of the statue burns a large white candle. In front of the altar itself, incense burns in 3 small braziers. White drapes hang on all the walls, and the floor is covered by a green carpet. The room is dust-free and has been scrubbed clean, except for the ceremonial equipment. The room appears empty. No, I can't make it Mordenkainen. Sorry. It has to be new, and I have to invent something tonight. After I call a friend of mine, I will probably get the old noggin jogging. Okay. The warrior maidens of Matarua keep their shrine clean with the candles and incense burning all year round. From tiny holes in the wall hidden by the white cloth hangings, the warrior maidens in room 23 can hear any loud noises. The sound carries through room 22. Hush, hush, keep it down now. Voices carry. Which has also been fitted with listening holes. The warrior maidens will investigate any loud noises. If any party member has desecrated the shrine, the warrior maidens will attack. Behave yourselves. No, not a brazier, Marcos. A burning coal brazier. Ouch. All right, so treasure room of the warrior maidens of Matarua. The room appears to be empty except for a large stone vault in the middle of the east wall. The vault has a keyhole. It looks like the stone slabs that make up the vault are too heavy to be moved. The stone vault contains the treasure of the warrior maidens. It is trapped. Any character standing in front of the keyhole who tries to open the vault and fails will be hit by a large stone block that falls from the ceiling. Rocks fall, everybody dies. Everybody in front of everybody who gets, okay, one person gets injured. The stone block does 2 to 12 points of damage. The warrior maidens in room 23 will hear any loud noises in the room. See room 21A. The treasure of the warrior maidens is 600 electrum, 1,000 gold, and 300 platinum. You skip the electrum. You take the gold and the platinum. And finally, those lovely ladies at arms, the warrior maidens of Matarua, Area 23. This guy, look at this guy, this dwarf. He's like, all right. 10 women are seated around a table. They all wear bronze chainmail over green tunics. Each woman's face is covered by a bronze mask of the face of the woman whose statue is atop the pyramid. Collecting chaos. Thank you so much. That is really, really awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The dwarf does look like he's thinking I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, that's right. He's holding a selfie stick. Look at that. You could just you could pencil that out a little bit and stick an iPhone on the end of that. The women are all warrior maidens of Matarua. 7 are first level fighters. 2 are second level. The leader of the warrior maidens is Pandora, Matarua's champion, the tallest and oldest of the women. How old are we talking about there, Tom? Sorry. Sorry, that's awful. She wields a sword +1, has a +2 bonus in combat from strength, and raises the morale of the warrior maidens to 9. She also carries the key to the treasure vault in room 22. Yeah, that is almost certainly Jim Holloway's art there. Pandora prides herself on being a simple fighter. She claims that swift action is the best solution to any problem. When in doubt, attack, she often says. Actually, she is more subtle than she leads people to believe. She always keeps track of the odds. While she often uses force to settle problems, she tries to make sure that the odds are with her. She raises the morale of any of the warrior maidens she is with to 9. Now that is coterminous with the head of the temple and the head of the mages cult and the head of the male warriors tribes. So we'll see you around, Patty. Have a good one. Thank you for stopping in. So, if the party doesn't attack, they may find that the warrior maidens of Matarua are another group trying to restore the lost glories of Sindanisa. All the current members are Sindanesian female fighters, but they are willing to take outsiders as members. The DM may decide to roll 2d6, and we have a similar reaction table to the other factions that they can join. Female fighters, female dwarves, female halflings, and female elves can become full members. All other characters may only become lesser members. Characters wanting to become full members will undergo a short initiation ceremony. The character draws her sword and pricks one of her fingers with it. She smears the blood of her finger on the sword blade. The sword is then placed on the altar of Matarua. The character swears to uphold the honor of Matarua, even with their own blood if necessary. Finally, a small sickle is branded on the inside of the initiate's left wrist. Full members will be given bronze masks and green robes. Lesser members will not be initiated. They will be given a bronze bracelet showing Matarua's face. The bracelet's robes and masks are kept in a stronghold in the underground city. It'll take about half a day for them to be reached. While the party waits, the warrior maidens will aid them against wandering monsters. Food and drink will be provided, and this may be a safe area. Door trap. Door trap. Baby door trap. You see an iron door at the end of the corridor. The door has 3 lightning bolts engraved on it. It's metal. It has lightning bolts engraved. That's how the dungeon master says, don't touch. The door guards a ceremonial chamber of Gorm. When anyone comes within 10 feet of the door, it glows with a crackling blue light. The door is locked. Once the words, "By the great god Gorm," are spoken, the door stops glowing and it is safe to enter. Anyone who touches the door without the proper words automatically takes 1 to 4 points of electrical damage. The door lock can be picked by a thief willing to take damage while trying to pick the lock. Ow, 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 ow. The ceremonial chambers of Gorm. The walls, ceiling, and floor of this room have been painted sky blue. A golden marble altar surrounded by golden candle holders and braziers rests in the... Now I'm doing it. Braziers rests along the middle of the east wall. On top of the altar is a small stone statue of a bearded man throwing a lightning bolt. Next to the statue rests a golden bowl. These are the ceremonial chambers of Gorm. No non-members are allowed in the room. New members of the Brotherhood are initiated here. The initiation is simple. The character dresses in a white robe and ritually washes his hands in the bowl, which contains water. He draws his weapon and kneels before Gorm's altar. He then swears in law to uphold the Brotherhood and to promote the worship of Gorm. Finally, the new member receives a tattoo of a blue lightning bolt on his right shoulder. Yeah, these are not the girls of Castle Anthrax. They are not. And I'm not launching into that dialogue either. Tier 4. Gonna move this. Sorry to headphone users. No, Mark, that's a Samovar you're thinking of. Tier 4 holds the burial chambers of King Alexander, Queen Zenobia, and major nobles, clerics, and others who lived during their reign. The nobleman's burial room has scenes of warfare painted on the walls. It also has a large wooden sarcophagus standing upright along the south wall. Painted on the outside of the sarcophagus is the picture of a warrior in armor. Squatting on each side of the sarcophagus is a large ape with white fur. And what do you know? They're 2 white apes. They've made this room their lair. When the door is open, the apes will beat their chests and threaten the party. If the threats are ignored, they will attack. Sometimes they'll throw rocks for 1d6 points of damage each. They've gathered a plentiful supply to defend their lair. Inside the sarcophagus is a mummified body wearing full plate armor and holding a sword. The sword is a magical +1 sword. Ghostly haunts. As you walk down the corridor, the shimmering ghost-like figures of a man and a woman both appear before you. They are dressed in costly clothing, and both wear golden crowns. How do we know they're costly, Tom? Are they carrying the receipts? The man raises his hand and gestures for you to stop. Go no further, he warns, lest the curse of King Alexander overtake you. I am Queen Zenobia, the woman says. Turn back. Only death awaits you. The shimmering figures of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia are haunts. Characters who see the haunts must save versus spells or try to run away in fear. The fear lasts for 1 to 4 turns. The haunts are otherwise harmless. Since they have no real physical existence, the haunts cannot be hurt by any physical attacks or spells. Uncle Brat says he's gone to Barsoom. Tomb Annex. The floor of this long, narrow room has a red and white checkerboard pattern of 2x2 squares because it was made with very early 1990s computer graphics. Sorry, that's a bit of an inside joke. If you did anything with CG from like 1988 to around 1993, the checkerboard was pretty much the gold standard of it's like 3 mirrored balls flying above a checkerboard field, the mirrored surface reflected in them, and it took like 5 days to ray trace that at 640 by 480. But anyway, court scenes are painted on the north and south walls. In the east wall, there is a 2-foot-high opening at floor level near the southeast quarter. Room 26 is the annex to the burial chambers of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia. This corridor was kept open when the pyramid was built in order to bring in the bodies of the king and queen. After the funerals, the corridor was sealed from the outside. I'm not dissing Tron. Tron was beautiful. No, it was it was literally every CG artist. I know because I was one of them. All right. I was one of them who got Pavre or something like that running on, their 286 or their Amiga or whatever. I'm not dissing Tron. Yeah, ray tracing 1 week later. Not like video games ray trace in resolutions that were physically impossible back then. That's just it, Marcos. I mean, y'all want to get me off topic. Y'all want to get me not talking about B4. You don't. But I'll tell you what, I could sit here and talk about color paint box, Magi graphics, early SGI, radius, but I'm not going to do that. Tomb traps. Tomb traps, baby, tomb traps. Three pendulum blades are hidden in the ceiling. If a character walks into any of the three marked squares, roll 1d6 on a roll of 1. The trap is triggered. Victims caught in the trap or characters who try to run through the swinging blades will be unhurt if they roll their dexterity score or lower on 1d20. Tom. Oh, Mark, that joke was so bad that I'm surprised I didn't make it. SGI wish you hadn't. Let's see. Those who fail take 1d10 points of damage. Now we're talking about not getting sliced up. The pendulum shafts are covered with a sticky green goo that looks like green slime. The goo is harmless. The blades will swing for 1 turn, then automatically reset. Special 10-foot square ceiling blocks were designed to fall and block the passage after the burials. The 2-foot-high opening in the east wall was formed when one block failed to fall all the way. A 2-foot-high crawl space remains between the floor and the bottom of the block. Now you can go to the next page. The block looks like it will fall no further, but the party cannot be sure. The DM should increase the tension by telling the party that they hear creaking noises coming from the stone block as they are crawling underneath it. The next obstacle the party must overcome are 2 stone blocks that cracked into rubble when they fell. It will take the party a full turn to clear away enough rubble so they can go further. Yeah, it's not quite a killer dungeon. It's no Tomb of Horrors. The final obstacle is a narrow twisting corridor wide enough for but one person at a time. The corridor was formed when several stone blocks fell crookedly. To the counselor's burial room! 100 internet points to the person who can tell me what I just referenced there. The door to this room has a 2-foot wide hole gnawed in it near the floor. Painted on the walls of this room are scenes of a throne room with a man giving advice to kings and queens. In the center of the room lies a wooden coffin. Large holes have been gnawed in the sides of the coffin. 3 giant shrews. They've made the coffin their lair. The body and any treasure have been stolen. The giant shrews have burrowed through a weak spot in the door and use a hole as an exit when they go hunting in the pyramid corridors. Like bats, giant shrews depend on sound echoes to see. As soon as the giant shrews sense anything nearby, they will attack because of their quickness. They always gain initiative in the first attack and are +1 initiative on the second. Their ferocity is so great that any character of 3rd level or less attacked by them must save versus death ray or run away in fear. A silence 15-foot radius spell will blind them. Interesting. Trapdoor. In the middle of the floor at this point is a large stone slab with a bronze ring bolted deeply into it. The slab is a trapdoor. When the trapdoor is opened, the party will see an iron ladder leading down to room 44 on tier 5. High Priest's burial room. The door to this room is scorched, as is the end of the corridor. The outline of a man-sized humanoid form is etched into the scorched section of the wall. That's what we saw over on the other column. The door to the room is slightly open, but not enough to see into the room. The man-sized outline is that of a ghoul. Well, there you go. Greetings, Bob Jester. Oh, you missed when everyone super chatted. Yeah, everybody threw me like a $10, $20 super chat. I was extremely grateful. It was awesome. And they all decided that everybody should do that tonight. So you can go ahead and do it. Not going to be upset if it takes you a minute or two. I'm kidding, of course. So yeah, the ghoul got blasted to ash when he stepped on the trap. Kennick says, music, drinks, Lost City, random love. Mrs. Kennick, are you trying to seduce me? I'm kidding. Along the walls are paintings of priests performing ceremonies. Apparently one of them is French fry ghoul. On a raised dais in the middle of the room lies an open bronze sarcophagus. Here, 3 hideous beast-like humanoids are tearing a mummified body apart with their sharp claws. That's darn rude. They're ghouls. Any non-elf creature hit by a ghoul must make a save versus paralyzation or be paralyzed. Tossed inside the sarcophagus are a jeweled necklace worth 1,500 and 2 jeweled bracelets, each worth 600. The ghouls have stripped them from the body and thrown them away. No appreciation whatsoever for fine jewelry. I swear. And there's the ghoul that bit the dust. Embalming room. This room contains several large tables. Around the walls are a number of large jars and casks. There is a bin in the northwest corner of the room. This room was used for embalming. Concealed in the room are 5 shadows. They will surprise a party on a roll of 1 to 5 on a d6. These intelligent ghost-like creatures look like real shadows. And guys, if you're familiar with AD&D, that's what we've got going on. Lord Corion, thank you for stopping by. It was great to see you again. Oh, Crimson, hi, how are you? Your room has several drawers. I bet it does. I bet it does. Hey, what do you think of the guy from Notre Dame? Your thoughts? If the party destroys the shadows, they can search the room. The jars and casks are filled with various spices used in embalming. The spices have been stored in this room so long they're now worthless. The bin is filled with rotten linen winding cloths. Underneath the rotten linen is a potion of invisibility and a chest filled with 3,000 gold pieces. You'll get banned from mute. That bad, huh? Lux says, you Germanic folk are just giant. Is that Gigant in German? Do I have that right? Gigant? Lady in Waiting's burial room. A white ivory coffin lies in a niche in the east wall. Painted on the walls are scenes of court life focusing on the ladies in waiting to Queen Zenobia. The coffin is empty. Except for the coffin, the room is empty. If it's ivory, it's got to have some intrinsic value. I'd put some value on that. Jump scare. Got you guys. Guard Captain's burial room. A mummified human in plate armor and holding a halberd stands at attention against the west side of the south wall. Grouped around the mummy are 9 skeletons holding swords, also at attention. The mummified body is one of the guard captains from the reign of King Alexander. It is not an undead monster, and its armor and weapons are normal. The skeletons are undead monsters. They will attack the party as soon as the characters enter and will fight until destroyed. There's no treasure here. Yes, that is absolutely a Jim Holloway. That is a Jim Holloway right there. Queen Zenobia's burial chamber. And if you had any illusions about Queen Zenobia being this benevolent queen, died tragically, etc., might appear in a ghostly form in any of the character, that just forget that, because the walls of this room are plain stone. An oblong box made from stone slabs lies in the center of the room. Written in several languages on the side of the box are the words, "May the curse of darkness destroy those who dare desecrate my resting place." The box is 3 feet high, 7 feet long, and 3 feet wide. The stone box contains the wooden coffin of Queen Zenobia. If the coffin is open, the party will find that Zenobia is now a wight. She will attack on sight. A wight can only be hit by silvered or magical weapons. Each hit by the wight drains 1 level of experience, including 1 hit die. The Queen's chamber once contained a treasure trove. However, the only treasure left is a jeweled crown she wears and her scepter, actually a wand of paralyzation with 8 charges. Since becoming a creature of darkness, she has forgotten how to use the wand. Good for the party. Oh, Bob, I was, but thank you anyway. Bob says, here's a random super for being late. Music, drinks, Lost City, random love, or maybe your next Uber ride. While I spent a bit of necessary supplies today in the big town, I also picked up a Call of Cthulhu 7E. That's awesome. Thank you, Bob. Hey, Tonka. So yeah, Queen Zenobia. Not a nice lady. Well, not anymore. False tomb. This room contains 2 large sarcophagi. Both gleam with golden highlights. One sarcophagus is marked Alexander, the other is marked as Zenobia. Surrounding the sarcophagi are a number of large wooden chests. The room is littered with broken objects: 2 smashed thrones, a broken chariot, smashed pottery, broken weapons, and torn clothing. Piles of bones cover the floor. On one of the walls is a mosaic showing famous events from the reign of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia. Zenobia. Yeah, Lux, she must have been pretty awful when she was alive. Oh, and there's the map. We'll look at that in a minute. This is not the real tomb of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia. This is a fake tomb to fool grave robbers. The bodies inside the sarcophagi are actually those of royal slaves, whether they wanted that or not. The real burial chambers of the king and queen are rooms 32 and 34. Well, we already know about old Queenie herself. The sarcophagi are made of wood painted to look like gold. The chests contain small items a king and queen might need in the afterlife. In the afterlife. You better get ready for the serious strife. All the items have been ritually killed, broken, ripped, or smashed, just like larger items littering the floor. The piles of bones are the remains of loyal slaves and royal animals killed after the funeral. So, you going to King Alexander's funeral? You know what? I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm not. Dude, gonna have a buffet. I'm gonna have chicken wings, Swedish meatballs. I don't want to be crass, but free meal. 4 chests apparently contain 5,000 silver, 6,000 gold, 3,000 electrum, and 2,000 platinum. Apparently. In the sarcophagi are 50 gems and 12 pieces of jewelry. All coins and treasure are cheap counterfeits, because of course they are. The actual value of the items in the room is only 450 gold pieces. Dwarves or thieves will notice that the gems, jewels, and coins are fake on a roll of 1 to 5. On a 1d6, 1 roll only. If the party does not have a dwarf or a thief, they will only notice the deception on a roll of 1 to 3. If the party taps on the walls using a hammer, wooden pole, or some similar object, they will notice hollow sounds where the secret doors open into the hidden corridors. If the party cannot open the secret doors, they can try and break them down. This will take 6 turns plus 1d6 turns. The DM should hint by description that the party is making progress, though slowly, until they finally break in. The DM should describe all the noise the party is making as well. Wandering monsters are rolled for normally. Oops. We get a little map glimpse there. King Alexander's burial chamber. The walls of this room are bare. In the center of the room is an oblong box made from stone slabs. Suddenly rising out of the stone box is a translucent ghost-like feature. The pale figure has glowing red eyes and a large dark mouth. It is a banshee. The banshee is a new monster, a supernatural creature that warns certain families of approaching death or mourns for certain individuals after their deaths. Banshees can only be hit by magical weapons or harmed by magical spells. Note, damage whale for 1 to 4. This is not your AD&D banshee that just kills you with a scream. You know, I always tell when you got real gems because the dwarf will shout mine. And so we have a map there of tier 6. Old Zargon. Zargon, take me away. And other tiers. So we're in the map section, and we have this lovely, whoops. It's kind of a cross, or isometric sectionized view here. Come on. So you guys can sort of get a look at that. Now there's a pretty spiffy underground city map. Now, I will tell you, of course, that the module states that this section is optional, but I think it's just like a cat o' nine tails or flail-like weapon, Chris. I don't think it's a tentacle rod as presented in AD&D. Question for you guys who never left the safe, fenced-in area of basic expert. Did they do drow in that version? And I'm pretty sure they did, because Shadow over Mystara and Tower of Doom, the side-scrolling beat-em-ups, I mean, the Konami worked very closely with TSR at the time to develop those games. They came from a TSR employee's campaign at home, like all the major encounters, and drow show up in those. So I don't know who the cartographer is. Holloway did a bunch of art. This looks like a Jim Holloway piece. They had shadow elves in Holloway. Okay. All right. Counterpoint, Jimmy. I have seen Japanese woodcuts from the 1880s that qualify as hentai. So let's keep going, because this is like a pull-out section. So we're back to the Banshee. This Banshee is guarding King Alexander's grave. It attacks by wailing. The DM should describe the Banshee's piercing wail and tell the party they can feel an icy, death-like chill. Then the DM should roll initiative. If the party wins and runs out of the range, they take no damage. Otherwise, all individuals within 30 feet of the wailing take an automatic 1 to 4 points of damage per round from the wailing attack. If the party can get outside the room and close the door between themselves and the Banshee, they will be safe, even if still within the 30-foot range of the wail. The Banshee will attack as soon as the tomb door is open. King Alexander's tomb was looted long ago, except for the treasure inside the wooden coffin, which is in the stone box. King Alexander wears a jeweled crown worth 5,000 gold pieces. He has plate armor +1 and a sword +2. Very handy artifacts. Slave's burial room. This room is filled with skeletons. The bones lie in piles on the floor. They cover the floor so thickly it is impossible to walk across the room without walking on bones. And once again, they're household slaves belonging to the various individuals buried in the pyramid. Upon the deaths of their masters, the slaves were herded together and killed, then tossed into this room. The skeletons are not undead. They are merely bones. Lovely. Chamberlain's burial room. In the walls of this room show painted scenes of a man signing documents and organizing tax collections. What a memorial. What a tribute. What a shining tribute. So, Nefushuzet, how do you want to be memorialized? I want you to decorate my tomb of me doing what I loved. Nobody knows the guy was into carving wooden boats and doing highly detailed scrimshaw, so they got him doing accounting. Yeah, I wouldn't have them be mundane skeletons. I'd have every skeleton in this place would be jumping up to attack. Every skeleton. Six pale-skinned humans stand around the coffin. They all have wounds bad enough to kill a normal person. And of course, they're zombies, and they do what zombies do. A giant rat lair. Rustling and faint squeaking noises can be heard. You got to have giant. Look, it's a D&D dungeon. There have to be giant rats in it. I put giant rats in all my dungeons. DMs, look. I don't care if you're playing original, basic, whatever flavor of basic, first edition AD&D. Do you 2E weirdos know the joy of the giant rat swarm? Just a wave of giant rats boiling out of a hole in the floor or the wall or the ceiling, or right behind a door, and just taking a party member down. So we have a giant rat lair. They have stuff because, you know, if your party goes through the trouble of stabbing each and every single freaking rat, 300 gold pieces and 4 500 gold piece gems. Yeah, sturges and giant rats are required. Sturges, giant rats, 10 by 10 by 10 pit trap. These are the elements of your dungeon starter kit. They're the salt, pepper, and garlic of dungeons. If you don't have those, it's not going to be good. Jester's burial room. Painted on the walls are scenes of the court showing King Alexander, Queen Zenobia being entertained by a dwarven jester. A small coffin rests in a niche in the east wall, and each corner of the room is a large brass jar. Sorry. If the lid of the coffin is touched, it will spring off. An oversized wooden model of the head of the dwarven jester, painted in bright colors, will jump up. The head is attached to a coiled spring like a jack-in-the-box. The coffin also contains the ashes of the jester. The brass jars look empty, but any item put completely into any of them will be instantly teleported into a large, concealed hollow beneath the coffin. The jars were used by the jester as his master trick, in which he made items disappear to amuse the court. The party can get to the hollow by removing the coffin. Frank just did his true facts about slime molds. I'll have to check that out. Love Frank. I thought I saw that in my notifications. Not to go back to complaining about YouTube, but man, YouTube notifications have been broken for me. There's a guy that I watch, and let me tell you what, if you are interested in making stuff for tabletop gaming, go watch this guy craft some stuff. He's got like multiple exponents more viewers than I do. But this young man literally makes like 3D models of stuff he sees in Studio Ghibli cartoons and video games. He is a gamer. He does make stuff to 28 millimeter scale out of trash, out of actual trash. But despite being subscribed and notified I missed 3 months worth of videos, which for him is 3 videos, but still. So we have a rolling boulder trap. We're actually coming up on an hour. We just crossed over an hour, so we'll go for about another half an hour because I don't want to leave Luther too far behind. Plus, I'm starving. Rolling boulder trap. Any character who reaches the west door, 39A, will trigger this trap. The wall in the north corner will open, and a 10-foot wide round boulder rolls out of the hidden area. The boulder will roll down the long corridor at 40 feet per round. When it stops, it will block the corridor near room 40. This boulder trap is not meant to kill player characters. Why, Tom? Why not? All right, I'll find you guys a Studson link here in just a second. Any character who reaches the west, it's not designed to kill, unless a party does something obviously stupid, like standing and arguing with it while the boulder is rolling towards them. The DM should let the party escape after a close shave into the room or around a corner. The DM should describe the rolling boulder as graphically as possible. Crashing sounds echoing down the corridor, stone chips flying where the boulder smashes against the wall, the corridor shaking from the force of the boulder, etc. The encounter should be exciting but not deadly. Interesting. This module came out before Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, there's a lot of Indiana Jones traps in here. But of course, there's more Indiana Jones traps in Hidden Shrine of Temukan. Now, I know for a fact Spielberg's kids and their friends were big D&D players, which is why it made it into E.T. So maybe. And if it hits a character, it'll do 3 to 30 points of damage, which on average, that's going to be 15 points, which for a first through second level party is almost instant death. Noble Lady's Burial Room. A sarcophagus rests on a dais in the center of this room. The dais is 10 feet square. From each corner of the dais rises a slender 6-foot-tall column. The tops of the columns meet at the corners of an arched dome above the sarcophagus. On the dais at each end of the sarcophagus is a brass jar from which flames dance. Finally, the walls of this room are painted with scenes from the life of a noble lady. The noble lady's mummified body rests in the sarcophagus. The jewelry once worn by the corpse has been stolen. The brass jars are bolted to the floor and their flames cannot be put out. However, behind one of the brass jars is a small bronze tube. It contains a piece of parchment. The parchment is a map of the southwest part of this tier marked with a large black X. The X represents the location of the trapdoor at 27A. The DM can either make a map or guide the party to the trapdoor when they get close. So I'm going to pause there for just a half a second. And I'm going to go over here. And hopefully not get you guys blasted in the ear. Hang on, we're getting there. I forgot Bing does this stupid thing. All right, here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why are you doing this, Google? It's your own product. Why are you doing this to me? All right. There's his channel. All right. Oh, we got bumped up. And we have the Master Thief's Burial Room. You're quite welcome. You guys can check that out. It is a good channel. He is funny and he edits well, which anybody who edits well compared to me. Master Thief's burial room. An elaborate jeweled coffin lies in the center of the room. Next to the coffin is a worm-like creature. It has many legs and its mouth is surrounded by 8 tentacles. Each tentacle is 2 feet long. And of course, we all know what it is. Say it with me, class. It's a carrion crawler. That's right. Another thing you need to... Actually, carrion crawlers are kind of OP. 3 or 4 carrion crawlers can be deadly to a very high level party in AD&D. The paralysis can be removed with a Cure Light Wound spell. So it got softened a little bit here. Without a spell, the paralysis will wear off in 2 to 8 turns. The jewels on the coffin are worth 3,000 gold pieces. A search of the body will discover a set of lockpicks. Master Thief from the reign of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia used his skills to steal a place near the king and queen in the afterlife. He managed to exchange his own coffin for that of a nobleman who was supposed to be buried in this room. Hey, well done. Come on. The 3rd dungeon level consists of Tier 5, rooms 41 to 58. This tier, including the pyramid's main entrance, is buried under the sand. Hidden in the main entry chamber, room 50, is a secret door to a passage leading to the underground city. See Part 5, Expanding the Adventure. Wandering Monsters. We have tiger beetles, 5 of them. 3 + 1 hit dice, 14 hit points, 2 to 12 damage, save as fighter 2. 3 possible encounters with Synodicians. 4 driver ants, 4 hit dice, 19 hit points, 2 to 12 damage, save as fighter 2. Giant Tutara lizard, 2 of those, armor class 4, 6 hit dice, 27 hit points, move 30, 3 attacks, 1 to 4, 1 to 4, 2 to 12, and save as fighter 3. A rust monster, and then a Thule. And I'm sorry, I said Tutara. Turara is an 8-foot-long giant lizard that looks like a cross between an iguana and a toad. It has pebble-colored olive skin and white spikes on its back. It's carnivorous and attacks when hungry. A Tutara has a membrane over its eyes, which, when lowered, gives the giant lizard 90 feet of infravision. The rust monster, of course, and then we have the Thule, a combination of a ghoul, hobgoblin, and a troll. I am made to understand, and I could be wrong about this, that the Thule did not come into existence until the Monster and Treasure sets, when there was a typo. Whoever was working on the Monster and Treasure sets meant to type ghoul, was thinking troll, and type and then just kept typing. And it went to the printer that way, because there's no just hit backspace. So he just let it go. And when it came back, somebody was like, well, what is a Thule? Well, it's a troll and a ghoul and a hobgoblin all mashed together. So we have the storage room on Tier 5. And it's got 3 ogres in it. Ogres are not too bright. They thought the candles looked good enough to eat, so they started eating them. They have huge leather sacks holding 500, 500, and 400 gold pieces, a ring of fire resistance, and a magic user scroll of continual light, levitate, and read languages. Cleric's quarters, 3 bunk beds. Lying on them are humans dressed in bright yellow robes. They wear masks of a boar, tiger, and wolf. The masked humans are doppelgangers. The doppelgangers took the forms of 3 Synodicians, then killed the originals. They will try to join the party, choosing 1 victim each. When they have the chance to do it secretly, they will shape change to look like the victim, then try to kill them and take his or her place. They are immune to sleep and charm. The doppelgangers carry 9 gems, worth a total of 1,500. Oh, Marcos, that's lovely. I love that. Now I've got that song stuck in my head. As she rises to her apology, nobody else could surely know. And now you can all hear it too. Treasure room. We like treasure rooms. And there's a new monster in it. And guess what? It's a mimic. You guys couldn't just say mimic? Come on. That's basic stuff. A slight breeze stirs the room when the door is opened. A large padlocked wooden chest sits near the north wall of the room. Behind the chest is a huge tapestry of a desert scene. The tapestry, not the chest, the tapestry is a new monster, the Polymar. It's a semi-intelligent, many-celled creature that can reshape its body to look like any creature of 10 hit die or less, or any object up to 10 by 10 by 10 in size. The Polymar will not have any special abilities, only the shape of the object or creature copied. Come on. A close examination will show that the tapestry is not actually made from woven threads. There's a 1 in 6 chance that one of the player characters will notice something suspicious, even without a close examination. 2 in 6 if an elf is present. For example, the tapestry will not move in the breeze created when the door is open, because the Polymar is much heavier than real tapestry. If it's not detected, it will attack with surprise. A mimic is only a mimic if they're from the mimic regions of France. Otherwise, they're just sparkling doppelgangers. The treasure chest is locked and has 3,000 electrum, 5,000 gold, and a potion of invisibility, chainmail +1, and a dagger +1. Now we're getting serious with the treasure. Now we've gotten serious with the treasure. The secret room. The ladder from the trapdoor at 27 leads down into this room. The room is empty. Surprise! Bedroom. It contains a bed, table, chair, a lantern, and a wooden holy symbol of 2 intertwined snakes. 2 snakes coming together in front of a black sun. The furniture is made of wood. A hooded white robe is draped over the chair. Except for the furniture and the robe, the room appears to be empty. This was once the bedroom of Demetrius, a 6th-level cleric. Demetrius was an elder in the cult of Usamigaras. His twin brother, Darius, was a 6th-level cleric in the cult of Zargon. Years ago, Demetrius vowed to destroy the cult of Zargon, especially his evil brother. But Demetrius was assassinated before he could even begin his quest. Of course, you can forget the song by Cinderella, Nobody's Fool. Demetrius made a dying wish that his spirit live on until Darius was destroyed. The spirit of Demetrius now rests in the white robe. Any character touching the robe must make a save versus dragon breath or be taken over by the spirit of Demetrius. Demetrius will only possess a character long enough to kill Darius. See room 58. Though outwardly unchanged, the possessed character is now a 6th-level lawful cleric. The character will have Demetrius' wisdom, 16, intelligence, 10, and hit points, 31. His saving throws will become death ray or poison, 9, wands, 8, the appropriate saving throws. If Demetrius is reduced to 0 hit points, the possessed character will die. Demetrius has the following spells: Cure Light Wounds, Detect Evil, Bless, Hold Person, Striking, Cure Serious Wounds. If using the D&D expert rules only. The DM should allow the player whose character has been possessed to play Demetrius. Take the player aside and tell him or her what is happening with as much background as you think is needed. Encourage the player to roleplay Demetrius as much as possible. Be ready to remind the player, if necessary, that Demetrius' only goal is to kill his brother Darius, and consider disallowing player actions that are out of character. Getting on that railroad. Riding that train, high on Demetrius. He knows the way to room 58, including any secret doors. He does not know about any of the traps on this level. As long as the party moves by the quickest route to Darius, room 58, Demetrius may help them defeat monsters. Kitchen dining room. You wanted a slash there, Tom. That makes it look like the kitchen is eating the dining room, or that in the dining room you eat kitchens. Doesn't make any sense. This room appears to be an abandoned kitchen and dining room combination. The cupboard, tables, and chairs are covered with a thin layer of dust. Near the table, 2 large snakes with brown and yellow scales are coiled around the body of a woman wearing a rabbit mask. Oh no. The snakes are rock pythons. They will attack the party on sight. If the bite is successful, it will coil around the victim and constrict for 2 to 8 points of damage. Thereafter, the constriction will automatically hit each round. Around the neck of the dead Synodesian is a necklace worth 700 gold. Concealed in her robes is a full water bottle and a small pouch of food. Poor dear, she thought she was going to escape. No, I don't think Cooper, Zeppelin, or Spinal Tap played AD&D on the road. I just don't. I do know that Spinal Tap enjoyed the comfort of a video computer game on their tour bus. In This Is Spinal Tap, one of the characters can be seen playing an Odyssey, a Magnavox Odyssey 2, which was a primitive game console that masqueraded as a home computer. Living room. This room looks like a living room. It contains wall hangings and ornate divans. There are several pieces of sculpture in the room, as well as an iron statue of a warrior on each side of the doorway just inside the room. Everything is covered by a thin layer of dust. The statues are actually living iron statues. They will attack if the party enters the room and allows the door to swing shut. While the door is held or jammed open, the statues will not attack. If a statue is hit by a non-magical metal weapon, the attacker must save versus spells. Failure means that the weapon sticks to the body of the iron statue and cannot be pulled away until the statue is destroyed. Living iron statues are not affected by sleep spells. Note it says that it doesn't point out that they're not affected by charm spells. You could potentially charm the statue. Well, that's very cool about Corey Wells. Uncle Brat, you had an Odyssey too? That's awesome. For a brief period in the 70s, may have lasted into the 80s, Magnavox, the electronics company, they just now just as a shell brand for ultra cheap electronics, if at all. But Magnavox was a US-based electronics manufacturer, and they had a retail chain. And lucky us, in Gadsden, Alabama, we had a Magnavox store. And the betting fields were some neighbors of ours from around the corner. They were assholes, and they stole toys from me. But their dad worked at the Magnavox store. And he got them an Odyssey. I remember playing my first home computer games on the Odyssey. Mark, that is an awesome story. That is really cool. Hidden guard room. 4 humans wearing stylized rat masks and red robes trimmed with rat fur leap to their feet and look at you. I'm getting a serious Spanish Inquisition vibe from this. Are you guys? In the northeast corner of the room are stairs going down. These 4 men are actually were-rats. These lycanthropes are disguised as Synodicians so that they can safely rob the citizens when they get their chance. If threatened, the were-rats will change into giant rat form and fight or run. Like other lycanthropes, were-rats in animal form can only be hit by silvered or magical weapons. They have a small chest with 2,000 silver and 4 gems, worth a total of 700. The stairs end in a bricked up wall, unless the expanded adventure is being played. See part 5, expanding the adventure. And there's our were-rats. Consultation room. Are you here for an appointment or just a consultation? This room is paneled with wood and a dusty carpet covers the floor. A large heavy desk sits in the center of the room. Several wooden chairs are grouped north of the desk. Behind the desk is a large plush chair, while behind the chair on the south wall is mounted a lion's head. 4 large painted urns stand in the corners of the room. Finally, on both sides of the north doorway are pedestals with stone statues of winged beasts with claws, fangs, and horns. The 2 statues are gargoyles, and we have all the stats there. If the party is expecting gargoyles when they see the statues, roll initiative. If not, the party will be surprised. The gargoyles will attack as soon as the party enters the room. They can only be hit with magical weapons and are not affected by sleep or charm spells. The desk has 3 drawers and a locked cabinet. Inside the cabinet are a mace +1 and a poison potion. Hidden in the cushion of the plush chair are 18 gems, each worth 100 gold. The urns and the lion head contain nothing of value. Yeah, Marcus. They do. Pit trap. The floor contains a 10-foot deep pit hidden. Contains a hidden 10-foot deep pit filled with spikes. I was saying all the words, just not in any semblance of the order. The DM should roll for each character entering this area. The trap is triggered on a 1 or 2 on a d6. Now that actually harkens back to original Dungeons and Dragons. OD&D would often point out that traps, like it's not automatic. You roll a d6 to see if a character could fall in. Are they Nutria? No, I don't think they're a chocolate hazelnut spread. Oh, that's Nutella. Right, that's Nutella. Sorry. Imagine being some sort of animal and you get bit by a were-human. Every night when the moon is full. There was actually an X-Files episode about that very thing. It was when they brought the X-Files back for like a 6 or 8 episode run one summer. Oh gosh, what was it? 6, 8 years ago, maybe more. And they did 1 or 2 Monster of the Week episodes. And the Monster of the Week was this British guy who was he a Bigfoot? But he wound up with were-human poison. And so he had to have a day job. It was kind of funny. DM, you are surprised. Me, I'm not surprised. DM, yes, you are. Me, no, I mean, I am not surprised that I am surprised. DM to the group, roll for initiative. He got way for. That's funny. That's funny. Clanner Jake is going for that Fofford and Gray Mouser angle there because Hisvit and her maidservant, who was like her maidservant was like an angelic creature. Fricks, Fofford and Mouser were after them, but Hisvit was a were-rat. And Pfaffer didn't mind. Yes, Casey Munchkin was the game. Has it been? I don't know, Lux. I'm not sure. All right, so we'll wrap up with the main entry chamber. But like I said, I'm a little tired, a lot hungry, so we're going to finish off. Main entry chamber. The high arch ceiling of this room is supported by a double row of pillars. Each pillar is carved into a statue of a king or queen of Synodecia. A series of mosaic pictures decorate the walls of the room. These start in the northeast corner and continue clockwise around the room. In the center of the north wall is a pair of huge stone doors. At the base of the double doors, the floor is partially covered in sand. The mosaics show scenes from the history of Synodecia. From the northwest corner, the mosaics show a tribe of squat, heavy-browed humanoids wielding crude stone weapons, worshiping a lizard-headed god. A large band of tall, black-haired people battle the humanoids and take over their hunting grounds. A village rises over the scene of the battle, and lands around the village are fields of grain and vast herds of cattle and sheep. A great leader arises in time of need and gathers the villagers into an army that destroys an enemy army of snake-headed humanoids. The victorious leader is crowned king and thus founding the line of the rulers of Synodecia. The stone city of Synodecia is built on the site where the village stood. Scenes of the splendor of the kingdom at its height. I don't know, Bob. Maybe some leftover pizza. I don't know. The births of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia. The Great Pyramid is built. Slaves digging under the pyramid uncover the foundation of a prehistoric temple. The death of King Alexander and Queen Zenobia and their burial in the pyramid. The worship of the old gods Gorm, Usamigaras, and Matarua is replaced by the worship of a large humanoid with many tentacles. Life becomes a year-round carnival for the Synodecians. All Synodecians are now masked. The Synodecians meet a barbaric, golden-haired people, the ancestors of the Heldan tribes mentioned in Module X1. Bob loves Matarua. The final picture is not a mosaic. It is a crudely painted sketch that shows the tribesmen looting Synodecia. There's room on the wall for more pictures, but the space is blank. The huge doors which open outward are blocked by sand and cannot be opened. There is no treasure here. Well, that just about does it for tonight. We're going to pick this up tomorrow with a little bit of reading more. We'll have Gamma World to play tomorrow night also. So 8 o'clock, we're going to kick off the live stream with some more reading of The Lost City. And then we're going to play Gamma World with all of your favorite folks that you like watching. I wish I had Pagan Savage. I wish I had meatloaf and mashed taters and corn. I would love that. I would love a plate full of that. I would go back for seconds on that, but I'll probably end up having leftover pizza or some breadsticks or something. I don't know. Thank you, Uncle Brad, Mark Hoover. Thank you. Thank you, everybody who super chatted this evening. I really, really appreciate it. I tease about it, but when you guys do it, it's always really super nice. One thing I do want to mention before I skedaddle, like I said, time is at a premium these days, and I did not get a chance to put Brad R. Scholl in the honor roll there for Patreons. So, Brad, thank you for joining up. Thank you for becoming a patron. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everyone. Who stops by and hangs out for these live streams. or who watches the videos, or both, regardless of what you do, the best thing you can do to support the show, if you haven't, please click the subscribe button and click the bell icon for notifications. Those are the best things you can do, being honest with you. If you want to support us on Patreon, we're on Patreon. We're on Subscribestar. You can donate directly if you want to donate to buymeacoffee.com/bsylvie. Any of those things are nice and appreciated. So until tomorrow night, guys, be good. And let me tell you something. I love you guys, all of you, whether you just subscribed just now when I asked you to, or you're one of those people who subscribed back in 2014, waiting to see what I did, and you've been hanging around with us. So everyone, take care, and I will talk to you later.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around. Some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep drive fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.